Hello, welcome on
Hey.
board Take It Easy. So what are we doing today?
So in this video, we're gonna go through our 5 top tips to sail around Raja Ampat, plus an extra one, a bonus one at the end, which you're not gonna wanna miss because it's a good one.
So stay tuned till the end and we'll also tell you the good and the bad about Raja Ampat. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started.
I'll live on, babe. I'll live on, babe. I'll be moving along, singing my song, running around, ain't nothing wrong. I'll live long, babe. I say, I'll live long, babe.
So am I saying tip 1 or are you?
I'll do it. Tip number 1. I'd love to do that.
It's all about the essential packing list because obviously you're going into a remote place, so you might want to think about what you can stock up on before you leave. Let's start with food, and I'm going to cover this one because let's face it, you're never worried about what's in the fridge, right? So in Raja Ampat, anything fresh you don't have to worry about. You'll find fresh produce, fish, meat, eggs, but you might want to think about buying a yogurt making kit because you won't really find much yogurt here. I mean, you will, but it's going to be expensive. If you're into plant milk, you're not going to find any here. Any canned food available in Sorong, but a lot more expensive. All of the grains like cereals, oatmeal, and then all of the nuts as well. Things that we actually missed being here: pesto sauce, olive oil, cheese, of course, and chocolate. Anything that you want to use for baking aside from standard flour and sugar, and then tortillas, cured meats, good toilet paper because the one that they sell here is really cheap.
It's not only cheap, it's crap.
I mean, they don't use it, so fair enough. I'll finish the list with dry herbs, popcorn, gluten-free items, and then alcohol. You will find alcohol, but it will be expensive.
You need to have enough gas because the issue we had is that you can't easily refill your gas bottles. You need the right fittings.
You're gonna have to be decanting your gas into your own bottles. You're not gonna be able to do that in every village, let's face it. So you might want to have enough gas bottle to last you plenty of time. Next on the list is all about sun protection and sunscreen specifically. You won't find a reef safe one. It's a shame because they have beautiful reefs, so you need to make sure that you protect it. They don't sell it here, so take some before you leave.
Take a lot because it is hot in here.
Yes.
For sure. A good mosquito repellent. Coil is okay. They do sell a lot of coil, but once you go out of the boat and you start doing stuff, you need some mosquito repellents.
The spray they sell doesn't protect you as much, and you have to be careful with malaria and that sort of things. Obviously, that's true for anywhere you go, but make sure that your first aid kit is well packed. I did get injured during the crossing. Their pharmacy are a bit limited into what they can sell. We were glad we had a lot on board before we left.
And the last thing on the list is a water maker or a good rainwater collection system. It's really hard to get to a village that have water to give you. Make sure to have a good water maker or rainwater collection because you can collect the rainwater. It is raining almost every day.
Okay, I'll let you do your thing.
Tip number 2.
So tip number 2 is all about the spare parts for the boat. And obviously this is a non-exhaustive list. You can think about everything and then you'll still miss something. First one is all about your outboards. Good fuel filters because the fuel isn't that clean here.
The fuel is not great, but it's mainly diesel that's an issue. You need good filters.
Spare propellers because there is a lot of plastic in the
when
water.
using it. A lot.
You might get plastic trapped into your prop and it will kill it. You need to change it. A good impeller as well for some reason. They do have a lot of outboards here and a few outboards mechanics as well. So anything really specific, there is a chance that you might find it, but just in case, you can't be too prepared. We're still talking about fuel. It's jerry cans for your fuel. There is no fuel dock, so you're gonna have to go to the station with some jerry cans, fill them up, and then bring them back to the boat.
Spares for equipments you won't find here. So for example, all the things you need for your water maker to work. Impellers for sure and filters.
For us, it was also for a compressor because obviously they don't sell compressors here. So any spare parts for the compressor, we needed to make sure that we packed it before we left.
And then in all the spares that are used for sailing. Good quality shackles, sail repair materials, marine grade screws, for example, bolts and blocks and saddles, all this stuff. They don't have any sailing boat in Indonesia, so they don't have anything related to it.
And one we were quite glad we packed was spare navigation lights, because ours died during the crossing. There's no way we could have found any in Indonesia, especially not in Raja Ampat.
Small chains, anchor chains, to tie to the rocks. They were super sharp and they're gonna go through your lines very quickly. So we used to put a little bit of anchor chain, and that was super efficient.
If you don't have that, at least a rope protector, but honestly, chain is the best. Next one is a spare autopilot. And again, that's not very specific to Raja Ampat, but going to a remote place, you're not going to find anything specific like this. So make sure you pack a spare autopilot and stay tuned. In the next episode, you'll find out why. Kind of touch upon this talking about the small pieces of chain, but you're going to need very long lines, because there are spots where you're not going to be able to anchor because it's going to be too deep, and so you're going to tie up lines in between the rocks. We went to a place where it was like 150 meters apart. It's really important to have very long lines. If you don't, I mean, you can do like we did and tie up lines together, but it's always better to have only the one line.
And more secure, because you never know.
And to stay on the topic of anchoring, even when you are going to be able to drop the anchor, just know that every anchorage in Raja Ampat is extremely deep. We are talking somewhere between 15 and 27 meters. You're gonna want a good amount of chain. It's at the very least 80 meters of chain.
And that's what we have. I think you can do a little bit less, but to be comfortable, 80 is good.
You can do also, what we have is that we have 80 meters of chain and then we have 50 meters of rope, but you need to make sure that the rope is never at the bottom, because if there's rocks or anything and it scratch against it, not only you losing all of your anchor and anchor chain, but also your boat is floating away.
Going onto the reef for sure, not in the big ocean.
To get parts that you are missing into Indonesia, and more specifically into Raja Ampat, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. It's going to cost you a lot. It's going to take a lot of time if you have to import anything. You're going to have to pay fees on top of the price of the product, and also they have a rule where you're not allowed to import anything that is not new. So forget about refurbished items, all of that, you're not going to be able to import.
Tip number 3. Sailing Indonesian waters. You can't trust your charts. They are wrong quite often. So you need to have satellite images.
So if you have any questions about satellite images specifically, leave a comment down below. I'm not going to go into too much detail. There are a few software that you can use if you need satellite images offline. For us, it wasn't too much of a problem because we had Starlink, so we were able to access all of the online charts. There is a lot of information about Raja Ampat, specifically on guides, compendium on the internet, so do your research. You don't have to guess where you're going to go and anchor. Don't be too stressed about not knowing where you're going. Find your guides and you'll be fine.
We strongly advise to use a weather radar to spot all the lightnings, because the weather is super unpredictable here.
So last one in this category is something that you really want to avoid, especially in Raja Ampat, because technically you don't have to, and that is sailing at night. So in Raja Ampat, anchorages are close enough so that you don't have to sail at night, and the reason you want to avoid it is because there's a lot of like small fishing boats and fans, not very well lit, and they don't really show up on the radar because they are all wooden, and most often they don't have AIS. In other areas in Indonesia, like more open sea where you have to sail at night, most fishing boats are big enough to show up on your AIS. So what you might want to do is go check up on the website Marine Traffic and try to see where they are roughly and try to avoid those areas.
But mainly what we did to sail at night is we left mid-afternoon. You have enough time to go far away from shore, and then you sail at night when you are far away from any land. That's how we managed to cover big distances. Tip number 4.
That one is all about what we call cultural exchange. In Indonesia, there isn't much trading, unlike what we've seen in Papua New Guinea or Solomon Island, but the schools are always looking for more supplies. If you have the ability to pack some, give them away to schools.
They do not speak a lot of English in Indonesia. You're gonna have to adjust to that. You can just download Google Translate because it actually works offline. That was super useful for us. It's a good one to have, and obviously learn some basics in Indonesian. Numbers, and then how to say hi, goodbye, and a few of the fruits and veggies.
Berapa alga? Apa kabar?
Buah naga. Dragon fruits. That's mine.
One thing that we would really advise you to do if you can is rent a scooter to get around. It's just a lot of fun. It's how people travel around here.
It's easy to find one. It's not easy to drive one. Messy roads and a lot of scooters around, but it is a lot of fun.
So one other thing to be mindful of, the locals will often come to see you to your boat just because they are curious and they are very welcoming and they want to talk to you. And when they come, so they come into their little dugout boats or canoe and they're not very careful when they land on your boat. So you might want to have a few fenders on the side just to avoid any crash.
Try to always have cash. They don't usually take the cards and they use cash for almost everything. Go to any ATM because they have plenty, but they can be empty.
Bank account, we use Wise. It's an international bank account that allows you to open bank account in specific currencies and then the fees are cheap. So we really recommend, if you are traveling anywhere for that matter, to use Wise. But in Raja Ampat, anytime you want to go for like a dive with a dive center or anything like this, most of them use Wise.
All you need is their email address. You enter that in the app, it's gonna find them straight away. You don't need to ask for all the account details and misspell them and then send the money to the wrong one and all the stuff. Put the email address and you're good to go. Tip number 5.
It's all about bureaucracy. We're not going to spend much time on this, to be honest, because the rules are always changing. I mean, we spent 8 months in Indonesia and the rules have changed like 5 times during our time there. If you're not sure, use a local agent. When we entered to Indonesia, we took an agent to clear the boat into the country, and that person actually helped us several times with several questions along the way. And if you need any contacts, just put a comment down below and we'll be sure to give you that. Number 2 on this list is have a boat stamp. We didn't have one and they're always asking for the boat stamp. I don't know why. So we did get around without one, but every time we had to justify.
Once you have a stamp, you're official. Yeah, you're the captain of that boat for sure.
And the last thing on bureaucracy is that AIS is mandatory here in Indonesia. Make sure that you have an AIS device that is receiving and transponding because they will check it on arrival.
And now the bonus tip, which is a little bit of everything.
The first thing on this list is SIM cards for your phone. So we've used Telkomsel because it's the most available in the country and the easiest to get. But there's 2 things that you need to be aware of. Number 1, you can only have it activated for 90 days. So just be mindful that every 90 days, you're gonna have to go into a Telkomsel shop, and there's only one in Sorong. But while we are on the subject of Telkomsel, just know that it's not very available in Raja Ampat. It's a very remote place and you don't get a lot of reception.
The way to go for us was having Starlink, which is a little bit expensive, but at least we had full speed internet, unlimited everywhere.
Second on this list is just the fact that there is not many airports to come to Raja Ampat. So you have Sorong, which is the big city, not that easy to access. There's no direct flight to Sorong. So just be aware of this in case you need to fly out for your visa or in case you get some visitors coming. It is a very remote place.
No international airports in Sorong, only domestic.
Then in Raja Ampat, you are on the equator, so it is really, really hot and humid. So if you don't have AC on the boat, you're gonna have to have a lot of fans, and you might want to have a dehumidifier as well because it's gonna get humid very quickly. You're gonna get mold everywhere. It's gonna be a nightmare.
And the last one, have a dinghy with a very good outboard. You're gonna have to go far because it's not easy to find an anchorage. It's super deep everywhere. So once you find an anchorage, you're gonna leave the boat here and then use the dinghy to go everywhere. Thankfully, we had a new outboard, 15 HP. Without it, I think we would not have seen half of the stuff in Raja Ampat. It's also super fun to go around all those small islands and explore.
Sometimes we did over 3 nautical miles to get to another place.
Very, very glad we had this outboard. We had a lot of fun.
So now that we've covered all of our tips, we're just going to finish this video with a bit about the good and the bad about Raja Ampat.
I mean, it's mostly good anyway.
So Raja Ampat really is an underwater paradise. It's the best of the best for divers. But just keep in mind that if you're not snorkeling or scuba diving, it's good, but like the main interest is the underwater world. So then what we loved about Raja Ampat as well is it is very remote. Like it's really difficult to access, and that means that it feels a bit untouched. For the most part, it's just absolutely beautiful. The beaches are incredible, the hike are breathtaking, the point of views, it feels like we are still in like prehistoric days. It is absolutely beautiful. You do not want to miss it if you are in Indonesia.
And also the people are so welcoming and so nice. Like, you go around everywhere and people are smiling. Make sure to talk to people. It was an amazing experience. Also, what we loved was the spearfishing. That was amazing. We've seen fish that we couldn't find in Australia, for example. So we really enjoyed, on top of doing the snorkeling and diving, doing a little bit of spearfishing.
And now let's talk about the not so good parts of Raja Ampat specifically. Number one of this list, and we covered it already, is the anchorage are very deep, which can be a bit stressful. It's fine under normal conditions, but there's also squalls in Indonesia, and if you wake up in the middle of the night, the wind has picked up to 35 knots and you anchored in a very deep anchorage, can be stressful.
The bad stuff also is the pollution and the trash that is everywhere. And mainly around Sorong and those big cities, the plastic is everywhere because they use plastic for everything and they don't recycle.
They don't have the facilities. If you don't have the facilities, then you shouldn't be selling the plastic, but they are.
There's gonna be trash everywhere in the water.
We found out that it might be good to avoid the Christmas period because apparently it was very busy around Raja Ampat, but as a more general way, there is a good weather window to be in Raja Ampat and a not so good one. We've already done a video about the weather in Raja Ampat, so I'll just put a link up there and go and check it out. Pick your window to come here.
Then the annoying part for us was the bureaucracy. Having to do those visas and renewal was a pain because first of all you need to find a custom office. That was annoying and that was not easy.
Then we covered that, but if you need any parts, then the import is going to be a nightmare. I've never seen this in any other country, so yeah, just be mindful of this and make sure that you packed very well.
We found that spearfishing was in the good part because that was amazing, but it's also in the bad part because all the villages, they do fish all the small fish. They don't even wait for them to be big enough. They have no restrictions. You go on the market and you see tuna that big. So you go in the water, you try to spearfish and there's nothing big.
If we go somewhere where there's no villages, then it's amazing. If there's a village, then don't even bother. And that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. Please, if you have any questions at all about anything in this list, make sure to drop us a comment because we'll be more than happy to help you prepare for your trip.
Make sure to reach out because those are just a brief overview of the tips we have to give, but there's plenty.
Make sure to subscribe and drop us a like if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time as we are moving out to the city of Fak Fak. Funny name, right?
Pack, pack. Pack, pack.